Hey everyone, I'm Rain 101, and this is Tarot for and from the Skeptical Mystic, and we're going to do our draw today. And the feeling right now that I'm going to deal with is kind of in line with some of the questions we've been asking on this channel so far, and it's inspired by my wife, who just today was sort of talking to me and feeling kind of mopey, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know, I'm just feeling listless. I don't really know what to do. And she has a lot of ideas. She has a lot of stuff that she's working on. So even when we sort of have stuff to do, we can get overwhelmed by that feeling of like, meh, like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do any of the things I want to do. So we're going to talk about overcoming listlessness, or why maybe we're feeling listlessness, or like we're dragging, or like we don't have that energy, because that happens so often. So much of like what I've been talking about is, it's spring, here comes this change, but there's also this feeling of like, I don't want to. Things are hard, life is hard, I don't want to right now. So let's take a look at that feeling, or have a reading with that feeling sort of in mind, of listlessness and overcoming that listlessness. So without any further ado, that is going to be a 2, and that's going to be our Rainbow Brain Skull. So that's going to be our past card. That's going to tell us maybe something about our recent or distant past that is inspiring, or contributes to this. Very little in our lives happens without sort of the influence of the past. There's everything leads to here, and here leads to everywhere. And so, I think it's really important for us to look and see, maybe there's something recently that happened, or that happened in our past, that might make us feel like we're dragging, might make us feel like we need to drag. I know with me sometimes it's that self-sabotaging feeling, right? Of like fear of failure leading to listlessness, right? Like, I don't have the energy, I don't have the motivation. I have the energy and motivation to play video games and dick around on my phone, right? But like, for some reason, I don't have the energy and motivation to do something constructive and meaningful with my life. Like, that's crazy, right? But crazy happens, and it comes from somewhere. So this says, just make a decision already so the story can move forward. We'll read the card, but it seems pretty straight up. Maybe we have been dealing with that sort of like uncertainty. Stalling doesn't buy you more time. It only wastes the limited time you're given. Aren't you curious what happens next? Let things move at a flowing pace instead of forcing yourself to hit the brakes all the time. Choose wisely, then stop choosing. So it seems to me like our past card is saying, like, in the past, we've had the same pattern of behavior. This gets into that sort of thing I was literally just talking about, right? Of like finding ways, reasons, meanings to stop, to stall, to prevent us from moving forward. And so if you're feeling listless today, it could be a pattern. It could be the way that you do things, the way that you operate might be in this way of like, I have an idea, or I have too many ideas, right? I know that I sometimes struggle with, well, I want to do this thing and I want to do that thing, and there's not enough time in the day to do all of the stuff that I want to do. But there actually kind of is, right? If you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to dedicate yourself to it, if you're willing to cut that time out. When we say there's not enough time in the day, lots of times we mean there's not enough time for me to do the things I want to do, and also enjoy myself, right? And also have some time for myself. And I think more and more we've moved into this, like, I have too many ideas, I have too many things that I want to do, but they also kind of feel like work, right? They also feel like we have to commodify them. And so even something as simple as like writing a song, right? Something as simple as sitting down to write something, sitting down to paint something, making a video for YouTube, whatever, can feel daunting, partly because it maybe feels like we have too much to choose from, or we have an obligation to choose something that maybe we don't want to do over something that we do. And so we say like, I can't decide all of these things, so I'm going to do the thing I actually want to do, which is kind of veg, or doom scroll, or whatever it is, right? And so in our past, this might be a trend, a pattern where we choose nothing. We choose to not make a choice. And just like the last reading, right? Like we had a card that was, not having an idea is an idea. Not choosing is a choice. And it is a choice that harms us. Think about like people who chose not to vote because they didn't like this or they didn't like that. And that is their right. At the same time, it could have had really devastating impacts on the outcome of the election. And so that choice has consequences. The choice not to make a choice has consequences. And that's led us to this current feeling of listlessness, or maybe that's the pattern that we fall into. And so we're repeating that pattern in this moment here of listlessness. So let's move on to our present card. That's going to be 6. That's going to be our Marseille Cat Tarot. This is a fun one as well. I like all my decks. I just switched out the Tiddlywinks Tarot for a Talisman Oracle. So now we have like a proper balance of Oracle and Tarot decks. And Talisman's new, so that's going to, for me anyway, so it's going to take a little while for me to understand the cards and what they're trying to say. One of the interesting things that I've found about these different decks is that they all kind of have different ways of saying what they're saying. A lot of the common themes, but just the vibe, right, of the card and the description and the intent of the author. I find that with the Steampunk Tarot, like they have very detailed interpretations of these cards that are maybe different than you'd find from like Biddy Tarot or something like that. And I think that's part of the charm of it, right? Like I'm curating this collection of things that have a certain vibe, have a certain message, something like that. So this does not want to give up the goods today. Last reading, card just hopped right out. But like a cat, this deck is deciding to be fickle. I'm going to pull you because you went sideways, buddy. And that's going to be the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords. I'm going to take a second to look it up and see what we have to say. All right, so this one seems pretty straightforward to me as well. The 6 of Swords here is saying maybe you're holding on to some baggage from the past. Maybe you're regretting a choice that you didn't make, or you're regretting a choice that you did make, or whatever, but it's coming with some baggage. And so, this is a period of transition for you. That's been a really common theme in the readings that I've done, is that it feels like we're going through pretty big transitions. Each of us individually, culturally, socially, globally, we're changing, we're developing, we're gradually and now not so gradually, developing in different directions. And those growing pains are always painful, and they can cause this sense of like wanting to hold on to something that you felt like you've always had. But like everything is temporary, right? Like, good times don't last and all that sort of, all good things must come to an end, all that sort of stuff, right? And so if you're holding on to sort of like regret for the decisions that you've made before, or if you're holding on to an apprehension to move forward because of things that have happened in the past, that's where you're at. And that might be what's causing that listlessness is, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to repeat a mistake. I don't want this same thing to happen again. I made a certain choice, or I chose not to choose, or whatever, and now it's biting me, and I'm stuck here because I'm still dealing with that. And this is you in the present, and it's sort of inviting you to say, like, no, right? Like, let it go. The inaction in the past, or uncertainty, or whatever, it doesn't have to be you here in the present. You can make the choice now to move into and embrace that transition that's maybe been sort of a struggle that you're struggling with, that's causing you to feel like, I don't know what to do. I think this is saying you do know what to do. You're just held down by this. You're held down by a past of uncertainty. And so you want to be able to step into things with certainty, but it doesn't work that way. Everything new, everything different, every big transition, small transition that you might make in your life comes with a certain amount of risk, comes with a certain amount of uncertainty. It comes with that baggage of not knowing. And that's part of the fun of it, right? We don't always take vacations to places we've been before, right? We go new places. We have new experiences. Human brains crave novelty. Part of the reason why we're sort of in this mode of like constantly being on our phones or on screens or whatever it is because we are addicted to scrolling up and getting something new. Scrolling through Reddit and getting a new post, a new page, a new piece of information, right? Instagram, TikTok are 3-minute videos. YouTube Shorts are 3-minute videos at most, right? Where and if it's a long one, you're like, I know I use the fast forward function on Instagram to play it at like 2x speed all the time, because I'm like, just get to it, just get to the point. Like, let me consume it. We are in this, we are creatures that crave more and new. So if you need to step into new and more, you can't be afraid of it. You can't be afraid of the uncertainty. You can't be afraid of the risk that brings. You're going to fail sometimes, and that's okay. That's part of being a human being. No one's perfect. But the people who are least perfect are the people who don't try. The people who do the same thing over and over and over again and then complain about how their life is exactly the same as it was yesterday. Well, what have you done to change that lately? Let's look into the future and what our future can bring or might look like through this lens of like listlessness or not feeling like we know what to do next. So that's going to be another 6. That's going to be another of our cat tarot. So maybe she'll be a little more gracious this time around. Give up the goods a little faster, but we'll see. I know, like for me, like I spent 9 years working in a job that eventually I really did not like, because I was afraid of that change. And when I finally did make that change that I needed to make, it was hugely transformative, and it led to like me moving out of state and leaving my entire life behind for something that was completely unpredictable, and the outcome was completely unexpected. But it's led me to the point that I'm now, where I'm talking to you about this stuff. And I wish I'd made that choice sooner, knowing that obviously the outcome, if I'd made it at a different time, would be different. But looking back, leaving that job was the right thing. And choosing not to act because it was scary, because it was safe and stable and comfortable, and I knew it, that was a poor decision, but it seemed like the right thing at the time. So, we can look back in hindsight and learn from our baggage, learn from the mistakes that we made, and be a little more willing to make different choices in the future. So this is going to be 2, 4, 6, 7 of coins. 7 or 8? He's like hammering her out on the 8th one. I think it's supposed to be 7. Let's see. So yeah, it is, just looking at the description of what the cat is doing here, definitely the 8 of coins. And I think that this is, if anything, hopefully should be very motivating and inspiring for you, right? The 8 of coins is competence and mastery over time, right? Dedication and working towards your craft, learning as you go, and making choices, right? But making the conscious choice to throw yourself into that craft, to develop that mastery that you're looking for. If you're like, well, I don't want to jump into a new situation that's unfamiliar and strange, like everyone starts there, right? And it takes time as like an apprentice to become a master, right? You have to be the page before you can become the knight. That's kind of how it works, at least in sort of like the tarot telling of it. But that's also how it worked in medieval times, right? Pages scribes or squires tended to be apprentice knights. And so this is saying like, yeah, of course it's going to be scary. Of course it's going to be unpredictable. Of course you're not going to know what you're doing. That's part of the process of knowing what you're doing. Nobody wakes up a master at the thing that they're trying to pursue. Even, kids who are child prodigies still lose, right, at chess, or still make mistakes playing piano. They might make fewer and they might learn from them faster, but they're still going through that process. It's just at an accelerated rate. And so if you're at a point where you're saying, I couldn't do this, like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it's the right choice. I don't know enough. I don't know if I don't feel confident. Like, okay, do it anyway. That's how you build up confidence. That's how you develop an understanding. When I first started doing these videos, I knew fuck all about tarot. I just thought it would be an interesting way to kind of like try and make sense of the world around me. And now here, I feel much different. I feel a lot more confident, but I would hardly say I'm a master, but I keep making the videos, right? And that's you. That's you on the verge of this transition, is saying, I don't know anything about this, or I don't know enough about this, or I don't feel confident making this decision. I'm afraid of what might happen. Okay, All of those are normal. All of those are valid. All of those are part of the process. The part of the process that's the most important is doing it anyway. So, take that baggage, right? Take that baggage of the past, that inaction, that hesitancy, those cop-outs, and put them in the past. Let them go. Find things to learn positively from them that you can take into the future, that you can take into this grinding out of skill and knowledge and expertise, because that's how you're going to become a master. Let's move on to our final card, the Crux card, that's going to kind of tie it all together. That's going to be a 3. That's going to be our Empyrean deck. This is going to be sort of like the key takeaway that we need to have, or the thing that's going to tie all of these together. Like, if you don't have this, you don't have anything. Oh, making a return is Vision. It's our Vision card. I think you don't even need me to read the thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see. Vision is 73. Even if we're in the darkest of places, vision can guide us out if we let it. It's no easy feat to hold on to something that feels abstract and so far out of reach, but the more we tend to our vision, the more it can become real. This card signals a potent space opening, where what you create in your head can be planted and grown more easily. Whether you feel like this vision is your last lifeline left, or you're just shooting for the next level, let the floodgates open. Live in this space as thoroughly as you can. Let it be woven into your cells, without expectation about the outcome, simply being with what you're building. So, and if you didn't get there the second I drew the card, that's okay. I kind of did. I was like, oh yeah, vision, duh. Keep your eyes on the prize, right? Keep your eyes on the reason and the motivation and the idea of this thing that you're trying to pursue. This here is saying like, I've got all of this uncertainty. I've got all of these regrets or these feelings about my past or this baggage. But that's not the stuff that led you to the idea, to the thing that you want to do, to the change that you want to make. The idea that led you there is something novel, is something new and transformative and different from this. And Vision is saying, focus on that. This needs to be put in the past, and you need to keep your vision clear to get into the future, to move to the mastery that you're looking for, to step into that new space. Vision is saying, as long as you have a clear idea of what you're doing and why, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It's gone, it's past, it's done. Hold on to that and really explore it without any of the boundaries, without any of the baggage, without any of the nonsense that's been holding you back. Step into it and step into it fully, and have that clear understanding of what you're doing and why. If you're like, I have this book idea in my head, or this painting that I want to paint, or this new job that I want to, that I have an interview for, but I haven't prepared for yet, or whatever it is, now is the time to really lean into it and say, no, I know why I'm writing this or painting this or applying for this job or doing what it is. And that's what I'm going to emphasize. That's what I'm going to focus on. So maybe you write the most important scene in your book. Maybe you paint the most important part of your image, or draw the most important part of your image first, right? What are you doing this for? And so then when you're continuing to work on it, you have that thing that you're building around, and you've already sort of captured the essence of it. You have that clear vision of, this is where I want to get to. So be thinking of your transition, your change, your step into the future with positivity and hope. And the realization that you're not going to do it today or even tomorrow. It's going to take time. But as long as you have a clear understanding and focused vision, then the regrets or the impact of the past can go away. It can be let go of. You can step into that with the knowledge that as long as you have that dedication and that vision, these two cards working hand in hand, you're going to be successful. And this transition is going to be a positive one for you. So that's my reading. Let me know if you see something different. I'm Rain 101. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you for the next video.